The atmosphere is a layer of gas that surrounds the Earth to protect your grass. It's held around the Earth by gravity and regulates the temperature for you and me. Created long ago by volcanic eruptions. To learn about the past, we gotta go to Antarctica. There we can drill out ice core samples, giving evidence of the early atmosphere that's ample. The early atmosphere was mostly carbon dioxide. There were no plants and no animal life. Very little oxygen and no ozone. Let the UV rays in, making it a dead zone. Oceans were probably where life had its genesis. Cyanobacteria doing photosynthesis. This process began putting oxygen in the air, eventually making ozone in the atmosphere. Ozone blocks radiation, allowing plants to survive on the surface, making oxygen, and then they start to thrive. More plants means more oxygen in the atmosphere. More oxygen eventually allows for animals to live here. Our modern atmosphere is mostly nitrogen, about 78% with 21% oxygen. Argon, carbon dioxide, water vapor less than 1%. Helium, hydrogen, krypton, neon, xenon, and other trace gases. We've got 4 layers in our atmosphere, 5 if you separate out the exosphere. The troposphere is a layer closest to the Earth. It's got the most mass, it's where weather occurs. Most planes travel here, it contains the jet stream, and as you go up, the temperature's gonna decrease. Next, the stratosphere is where molecules spread apart, and this is where the ozone plays its crucial part. Absorbing radiation is the role of the ozone, making the temperature increase the higher that you go. Then the mesosphere, falling neatly in the middle. It has the pleasure of being the very coldest layer. It helps protect the planet from meteorite impacts. When super hot meets super cold, the rocks react and crack. Lastly is the thermosphere, the hottest of them all. It's divided into 2 parts that surround our earthly ball. The ionosphere is the lower layer that holds charged particles. When ions strike the oxygen, they glow and are remarkable. Another feature of ions is they refract radio waves, making it possible to tune in radio stations far away. The outermost layer of the exosphere blends gradually into space. This is where the most satellites do their orbital race. Remember, temperatures zigzag as you change layers in the atmosphere, down then up to the end of the exosphere. And now a little vocab to help you all along. Air pressure is the weight of all the molecules pushing down. As you travel up in altitude, the pressure will decrease, and the closer you get to the planet, the more it will increase. Altitude is simply the height above sea level. You also need to know the difference between climate and weather. Weather is the atmospheric conditions in a given place and time. Climate is the average weather over a long period of time. Now to match some instruments with all the stuff they measure, whether we're talking atmosphere, climate, or the weather. You know we measure temperature with a thermometer. Did you know we measure wind speed with an anemometer? Barometers measure air pressure in millibars. Aneroid and mercury are the 2 types there are. Regular old humidity we measure with a hygrometer. Relative humidity we measure with a sling psychrometer. A rain gauge will measure the amount of the rain, and the direction of the wind comes from a wind vane. The measurements of these instruments can help us understand the conditions all around us and the weather that's at hand. We really should be grateful for our gaseous atmosphere. Without it, nobody would be able to be living here.